On behalf of the Florida Bar and the Jacksonville Bar, I'd like to welcome everyone to the Path to Unity program. I'm Michael Orr, and to get things started, I'll call on Letitia Campbell to announce the occasion.
Hello, I am Letitia Campbell, an Assistant State Attorney in the 4th Judicial Circuit and a member of the Florida Bar's Standing Committee on Diversity and Inclusion. On behalf of our chair, Charlie Ann Seifert, and the entire committee, I am proud and excited to welcome you to the launch of the Path to Unity project here in Jacksonville, Florida. This program was created to engage and educate lawyers, future lawyers, and students on the bar's history by celebrating 5 trailblazing Florida lawyers who, inspired by example, made significant contributions and helped pave a path for those who came after. Through the telling of their stories, we will demonstrate the important role our lawyers have played in the history of both our bar and our state. After a rigorous selection, 1 lawyer was selected from each of the 5 main categories in the committee's mission statement: race, gender, ethnicity, sexual orientation, and disabilities. We then solicited talented student artists to paint portraits of these 5 legendary lawyers. The portraits will be unveiled here today and will travel across the state to hang in participating courthouses and the Florida Supreme Court building. The Path to Unity project also includes an education pipeline. In this component, lawyers across the state will take our presentation to local schools for students to learn the important role of lawyers in our nation's history and to inspire them to pursue a career in law. This program is designed to show the value of diversity and inclusion and have a lasting impact on Florida's lawyers, students, and the public at large. We would like to extend a special thank you to those individuals who helped make this program a reality. Special thanks to Mike Tanner, the president of the Florida Bar, and Josh Doyle, the executive director of the Florida Bar, for their enthusiastic support of our efforts. And to Ms. Arnell Bryant-Willis, Diversity Initiatives Manager, for her unwavering work and dedication. The committee would also like to thank former chair and Florida Bar Board of Governors Nikki Lewis-Simon and Scott Westheimer of the Program Evaluation Committee. The Path to Unity project is officially launching in Jacksonville because of the support of these individuals and the hard work of the Jacksonville Bar Association's Diversity and Inclusion Committee. We are excited to highlight the contribution of these 5 lawyers individually while also celebrating the bar's journey on its path to unity and becoming the rich, multicultural bar that we are today. We hope that lawyers and students will be inspired to continue down this brave path.
Thank you, Letitia. I'll now call on the president of the Florida Bar, Michael Tanner, a partner from the Gunster Law Firm, to provide some welcoming remarks. Mr. Tanner?
Hello, I'm Mike Tanner, president of the Florida Bar. I want to thank you for your attention today. I want to thank all of you for participating in this Path to Unity event where we celebrate 5 Florida lawyers who broke barriers of race, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, and disability to make our profession and our justice system in Florida more diverse. I want to thank the Standing Committee on Diversity and Inclusion of the Florida Bar for promoting this program and their other efforts to advance the Florida Bar's commitment to diversity and inclusion. I want to thank the Jacksonville Bar Association for making this event virtually available to all of us. The Florida Bar strategic plan for 2019 through 2022 includes as one of its 5 key objectives our commitment to diversity and inclusion. And the Standing Committee on Diversity and Inclusion promotes that objective through campaigns such as this. It also seeks to promote and expand leadership opportunities for the next generation of Florida leaders in our profession through the Leadership Academy. And the Academy has to date graduated more than 300 lawyers who've gone on to serve as judges and leaders in the Florida Bar and in their communities. The research has shown that our social fabric is strengthened if our system of justice and our profession reflect the rich diversity of the citizens of Florida. Today we're going to honor 5 lawyers who have advanced that goal in our profession in Florida. Thank you for your attention today to our history and to the path to unity.
Thank you, President Tanner. I'd now like to welcome the Chief Judge of the 4th Judicial Circuit of Florida, Mark Mahan. Chief Judge Mahan.
Hello. On behalf of the judges of the 4th Judicial Circuit, let me say how pleased and honored we are to host this important exhibit, recognizing the importance of diversity and inclusion in the bench and bar. It is an honor and a privilege to have this exhibit hanging in our courthouse, and it is truly a tribute to those people and the pioneers that did so much in this important effort. Again, welcome.
Thank you, Chief Judge Mahan. And now I'll call on the Chief Judge of the United States District Court for the Middle District of Florida, Judge Corrigan, to offer some remarks on behalf of the federal bench. Judge?
On behalf of the United States District Court for the Middle District of Florida, I'm pleased to welcome you to the Jacksonville Bar Association's and Florida Bar's Path to Unity program. This exciting program will honor 5 pioneering members of the Florida Bar who each made significant contributions to their professions and paved the way forward for future generations. I'm honored to be included in this effort to promote diversity and inclusion by celebrating these historic figures. Recognizing the importance of initiatives like these, our court recently created a Diversity and Inclusion Committee chaired by Judge Brian Davis, who you'll hear from later. The committee's first goal is to work on increasing the diversity of law clerks and interns who work for our court. There's no doubt that the public's trust in the judiciary is enhanced when its workforce broadly reflects the diversity of the public it serves. Thank you for having me, and I hope you will all enjoy learning about these legendary lawyers.
Thank you, Judge Corrigan. At this time, to begin our presentation and unveiling of the first portrait, I'll welcome former State Senator Tony Hill.
Well, first of all, I want to thank the Jacksonville Bar for giving us this opportunity to come and honor a native son, James Weldon Johnson, one that had grew up here in Jacksonville along with his brother, John Rosamond Johnson. This is a high honor for our community and also for the Johnson family. We are here to say thank you for the work that James Weldon Johnson embarked on in the 1900s, early 1900s, when he decided to pen a poem which turned into a song called Lift Every Voice and Sing. And not only that, he left Jacksonville, furthered his education at Atlanta University, went from Atlanta University to a elementary school there in Georgia, and then had the opportunity to become the first principal of Stanton High School here in Jacksonville. And from that, he moved on to become a lawyer, was the first African American to pass the Florida Bar in a setting here in Jacksonville in a courtroom. And so we're here today to say thank you to the Florida Bar for commissioning a portrait of James Weldon Johnson that will travel around the state of Florida and will have a resting place at the Florida Bar in Tallahassee. As we keep talking about James Weldon Johnson, we talk about a statesman, we talk about an educator, we talk about a lawyer, we talk about a diplomat, we talk about even a newspaper publisher, one of the first to publish a newspaper in the state of Florida, a black weekly paper here in the state of Florida. So again, on behalf of the Johnson family, on behalf of the Johnson Foundation, we want to say thank you for commissioning this portrait today. Will you please join me as we unveil the portrait of James Weldon Johnson here in Jacksonville, Florida. Thank you so very much for the opportunity to come and share.
Thank you, Senator Hill. And now I'll ask Kim Woods, a board member and secretary of the Jacksonville Women Lawyers Association, to unveil our second portrait. Ms. Woods?
My name is Kimberly Woods, and I have the honor of serving as the treasurer for the Jacksonville Women Lawyers Association, the Jacksonville chapter of the Florida Association of Women Lawyers, or FAL. FAL and its local chapters focus on the professional advancement of women lawyers specifically and the promotion of women's rights generally. One of our founding members of FAL was none other than Anna Brenner Mayers. Mayers was an educator and a lawyer. Born in Poland on December 18, 1896, she moved to the United States as an infant and became a naturalized citizen in 1925. Mayers grew up in Connecticut and graduated from high school at the age of 16. After graduating from high school, she would work as a teacher. She would later attend nursing school, Columbia University, and later Brooklyn Law School in New York. Mayers would work as a registered nurse, public school teacher, and rural social worker prior to starting her legal career in New York. She moved to Miami in the mid-1930s and worked as a legal secretary during the day and studied for the bar exam at night. She was admitted to practice law in Florida on January 9, 1936, and before the United States Supreme Court on May 12, 1941. She would practice law until her retirement in 1978. Mayers was appointed by Governor Charlie E. Johns to the Dade County School Board in 1953, the first woman to hold such a position. She would serve on that board until December of 1971. While on the school board, she fought to desegregate public schools in the county and increase wages for teachers. She was instrumental in establishing the Miami-Dade Community College, Baker Aviation School, and educational television in Dade County. Miami-Dade Community College would later name their medical building after her in 1977. Mayers was a founding member of the Florida Association of Women Lawyers and served as its first president in 1951 to 1952. She was also active in the National Association of Women Lawyers, serving as state director in 1945 to 46, treasurer in 1945 to 46, Florida delegate on the Council of Delegates in 1949 to 51, in 1963 to 65, and lastly as Assembly Delegate in 1951 to 52. Mayers was also the Vice President and Treasurer of the International Federation of Women Lawyers. In addition, she was a member of the Florida State Bar, Dade County Bar, American Bar, and New York Women's Bar Associations. She was listed as Who's Who among women lawyers in 1939. As one of Florida's most prominent attorneys, she was named Outstanding Woman of 1957. She would also serve as a member of the National Federation and Miami Business and Professional Women's Clubs, American Association of Social Workers, Hadassah, National Council of Jewish Women, Dade County Federation of Women's Clubs, Board of Greater Miami Jewish Federation and Welfare Fund, and the Social Service Bureau of Greater Miami. She died on November 8, 1983, at the age of 86. Mayers constantly strived to elevate the legal community in Florida and accomplished this many times over. And without further ado, may I present the portrait of Miss Anna Brenner Mayers.
Thank you, Ms. Woods. I'll now call to the podium Duval County Court Judge Roberto Arias for the unveiling of our third portrait. Judge Arias?
On behalf of the Florida Bar Association and the Jacksonville Bar Association, I'm proud to present to you Judge Mario Goodrich. Mario Goodrich was born in Santiago de Cuba. He attended the University of Havana School of Law, where he received his Doctor of Civil Laws degree in 1957. He practiced law in Havana until immigrating to the United States in 1961. Like many Cuban professional exiles of that era, he worked in non-legal positions to support his family. He worked his way through the University of Miami Law School in 2.5 years, receiving his Juris Doctor degree in 1966. After becoming an American citizen, he was admitted to the Florida Bar in 1969. While going through the naturalization process, he was ineligible for bar admission, and he took the position of Associate Law Librarian at the University of Miami, later becoming the University of Miami's Law Library Director, as well as was an instructor of law at that university. He was one of the founding members and first president of the Cuban American Bar Association, one of the most important voluntary bar associations in the state of Florida. That Voluntary Bar Association, CABA, was founded in 1974 by lawyers of Cuban descent. CABA's mission is to promote the equality of their members, increase diversity in the judiciary and legal community, serve the public interest by increasing awareness to the study of jurisprudence, foster respect for the law, preserve the high standards of integrity, honor, and professional courtesy among their peers, and as well as providing equal access to and adequate representation of all minorities before the courts of the state of Florida. Judge Goodrich was appointed in 1975 by Governor Reuben Askew as a judge of industrial claims. In 1978, he was appointed judge for the 11th Judicial Circuit by Governor Askew and was re-elected unopposed in 1980 and 1986. Governor Bob Martinez elevated Judge Goodrich to the 3rd District Court of Appeals in 1990. He was indeed the first Cuban American to sit on all of these 3 courts. During his career, he published several works in international law, legal research, and comparative law. Judge Goodrich has been a member of the Dade County Bar Association since 1969, was a member of the American Bar Association, and is a fellow in the American Bar Foundation. Judge Goodrich received numerous honors and awards. Among these are the Lawyer of the Americas Award by the University of Miami Intra-American Law Review. In 1988, the Republic of Colombia bestowed on Judge Goodrich the Order of Democracy. He was honored in 2004 with the St. Thomas University School of Law's Juris of the Year Award. Judge Goodrich retired from the court in 2005. A true pioneer and wonderful example of perseverance, professional accomplishment, and commitment to the rule of law and equal justice for all. I welcome you to the portrait of Mario Goodrich.
Thank you, Judge Arias. I'll now call on Jennifer Thomas, an Orlando-based attorney, to announce the unveiling of her father's portrait.
Today we are here to recognize the trailblazing efforts of Florida lawyers whose significant contributions to diversity, inclusion, and equality pave the way for others. To many of us, these lawyers are heroes. Undoubtedly, as these portraits and this ceremony conveys, these lawyers are legends. It is a highlight of my career, both professionally and personally, to introduce one of our first legends, Larry Dean Smith. In candor, Larry has served many roles in my life: boss, colleague, law partner, chauffeur, mentor, friend. But what is most sacred, and perhaps is his greatest honor of all, is that Larry Smith has the distinguished privilege of also being my daddy. The circumstances of his upbringing were unlikely to produce an outspoken national leader. Born of humble means in rural Cherokee, Alabama, Larry grew up in a manufactured home without running water, air conditioning, or a toilet. His parents had a 6th grade education. They were poor, unconnected, living day to day, many times with empty bellies. Despite being voted the wittiest in his high school class, Larry never had friends over. In some ways, Larry learned to live a double life early on, the one others saw and the one he knew too well when he was alone with his thoughts. Larry became the first of his family to graduate from college, and in 1981 he started law school at the University of Alabama. Roll Tide! To put this in historical context, the same year that Larry started law school, the Florida Supreme Court decided Florida Board of Bar Examiners versus HRS, where the court begrudgingly offered the LGBT community lukewarm admission to the Florida bar. Larry began his law practice at Rumberger, Kirk & Caldwell, the law firm where we both practice today. From his swearing in 1984 until the 1990s, Dad worked a lawyer's life, practicing a series of related and respected firms, supporting his family, and keeping the treadmill of life set for just above average. But the reason I'm on this stage today is a profound change in Dad's life in 1999. He had become divorced. He had been a single dad of 2 girls for several years, and then he met Clayton, who would become his life partner, husband, and our stepdad. Then, in March 1999, Justice Harry Lee Anstead was featured in the Florida Bar News, addressing professionalism and diversity. Justice Anstead advocated for greater recognition of diversity as a part of our professional obligation to one another and the public that we lawyers serve. He mentioned race and gender and ethnicity as areas where the bar could improve. It was, as Larry, in true Larry fashion, would tell Anstead in an 11-page footnoted letter, fine as far as it went. But Larry challenged him to include sexual orientation in the efforts. That letter was the first time Larry ever remembered writing to any public person about the issue. I've heard this story many times. Weeks later, the phone rang, and it was Justice Anstead on the line. Clutching his law license and perhaps his proverbial pearls, Dad answered the phone. Justice Anstead was gracious. He acknowledged that he didn't fully understand Larry's perspective, but that Larry had one that ought to be shared. He challenged Larry, "If you want to be part of the solution, I'll walk down the hall and ask the Chief Justice to appoint you to the Supreme Court Commission on Professionalism. But," he added, "if you aren't willing to be part of the solution, you wrote a very nice letter." Determined to be part of the solution, Larry helped start the second LGBTQ Voluntary Bar Association in the state and became its first president. He stood on the steps of Orlando City Hall with armed officers demanding that the City Council amend its human rights ordinance to protect its gay citizens from discrimination in housing, employment, and public accommodations. And they did. And followed were a number of firsts. The first openly gay member to address the Florida Bar about sexual orientation and its role within the diversity community. The first openly gay member of the Supreme Court Commission on Professionalism. The first openly LGBTQ attorney to chair the ABA Ethics and Professionalism's Committee Diversity Subcommittee. And the first openly LGBTQ attorney to chair the Diversity Committee of a number of national professional organizations. His voice was heard in small meetings and on stage in large ones. Many tried to silence his voice. Larry would not be silenced. Many asked him to wait his turn. He would not abide. To say that Larry changed the face of the profession is an understatement. It is not surprising then that he has amassed recognition and awards, the ABA Section of Litigation's Diversity Leadership Award, the first LGBTQ attorney to receive the Henry Latimer Award, the Defense Research Institute Cheryl J. Willard Diversity Pioneer Award, the Litigation Council of America's Peter Perlman Service Award, the Florida Bar Young Lawyers Division Diversity Award, Diversity Law Institute's Diversity Award, and the Florida Bar Kirk G. House Humanitarian Award. What may be more noteworthy is that in addition to being the first openly LGBTQ recipient to receive any of these respective awards, is that he's the only person to have received all of them. I've sat through many of these ceremonies, and at each one, I hear Dad say that he's accepting the award not for himself, but for his community and for those who he's tried to give a voice. Each of these awards is supported by Larry's efforts to bring the LGBT community into focus of the legal profession and also our community. Each nomination was supported by articles and speeches and countless non-billable hours dedicating himself to the advancement of diversity and inclusion. He now leads a company that's sole purpose is to mentor and consult corporations and business on inclusive excellence. I learned that when he was interviewed by the student artist who painted his portrait beside me, he told the student that he recognized the artist didn't have much to work with. I did tell him to get Botox before his sitting. And it didn't matter what he looked like in the painting. What mattered that the painting would cause people to pause long enough to understand why the painting was being created at all, because he and the cause mattered. I am particularly poised to tell you this. I know my dad's heart: honor, integrity, tenacity, professionalism, persistence, compassion. These are the traits of a leader. These are the characteristics of his being, the fabric of his soul. It is my greatest honor to unveil the Path to Unity portrait of trailblazer, innovator, diversity advocate, legend, Larry Dean Smith.
Thank you, Ms. Thomas. I'll now call on a law clerk from the Florida Supreme Court, Nicole Saunders, to unveil our last portrait of the day. Ms. Saunders?
Hello, I'm here to speak to you today about Mr. James Cracked, an outstanding and brilliant attorney who's also an advocate for disability rights. He retired in 2012 from the Miami-Dade County Attorney's Office after spending nearly 40 years in their tax and finance division. Before joining the Miami-Dade County Attorney's Office, Mr. Cracked attended Harvard University, where he graduated in 1975. There, his wife, Pat, worked alongside him to draft notes and help him to take down the lectures and record them so that he could digest the material at his own time and his own pace. Because this was before the time when a lot of the disability rights laws had gone into place that would require the schools to write such notes for him and to take them down. When he went into his career as an attorney, he also encountered some difficulty in terms of having to communicate with opposing counsel and being able to present his arguments in a way that was clear to the judge and to the jury and to opposing counsel, given the fact that he was blind and not everybody had encountered a blind attorney beforehand. But he persevered, and he was able to rise all the way to the top of the division of tax and finance at the Miami-Dade County Attorney's Office, and shine as an example for many young lawyers with disabilities. On top of his role as an attorney at the Miami-Dade County Attorney's Office, he also was an advocate for people with disabilities. Specifically, he worked at the American Council for the Blind, where he took on multiple leadership roles, and he also worked at the Association of Visually Impaired Attorneys, where he volunteered in many high-level leadership roles, including as a director of that organization. Over the years, Mr. Cracked has developed not only his legal prowess, but also has indulged his passion for music boxes, where he has collected over 48 music boxes from around the world, supported by his wife, who is excited that he has discovered this passion, but is tired of him collecting music boxes, and it's something that they laugh about often. As a lawyer with a disability, I'm specifically inspired by Mr. Crack's history and his path to leadership. I was the chair of the American Bar Association Young Lawyers Division Disability Rights Committee. And it was particularly exciting to see lawyers like Mr. Crack paving the way for other lawyers with disabilities. And so we thank him so much for his service to the people of the state of Florida for nearly 40 years, and for all the wonderful things he's done to bring our state forward, particularly in the legal community and legal services. So without further ado, I introduce to you Mr. James Cracked. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Saunders. And now at this time, we'll turn to a very special presentation of Lift Every Voice and Sing.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea.
Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun, let us march on till victory is won.
Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died, yet with a steady beat have not our weary feet come to the place for which our Father sighed.
We have come over a way that the tears have been watered. We have come treading our path through the blood of the slaughtered. Out from the gloomy past till now we stand endless, where the white gleam of our bright star is cast.
God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, Thou who hast brought us thus far on the way, Thou who hast by Thy might led us into the light, keep us forever in the path we pray.
Lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met Thee. Lest our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, we forget Thee. Shadowed beneath Thy hand, may we forever stand true to our God, true to our native land.
Thank you for that wonderful rendition of Lift Every Voice and Sing. Now turn to the Honorable Brian Davis, United States District Judge for the Middle District of Florida, to offer some special remarks. Judge Davis.
Hello, I am United States District Judge Brian Davis, and as a native of Jacksonville, Florida, and an active member of its justice community, I'm honored that Jacksonville and the Florida Bar Association chose our city to celebrate pioneer lawyers Anna Myers, Mario Goderich, Larry Smith, and James Cratch. My honor and community pride is enhanced, however, by the fact that another Jacksonville son is among the celebrants, Attorney James Weldon Johnson. In his autobiography of an ex-colored man, Attorney Johnson talks about his Jacksonville before and after the turn of the century. He describes the community of his youth as being filled with and exhibiting progressive ideas and ideals as a multiracial city. He later describes, upon his return years after, a different Jacksonville, a post-Reconstruction Jacksonville, characterized by racism and reactionary thought and behavior. James Weldon Johnson went on to devote the balance of his life to fighting bigotry, setting the stage for the modern civil rights movement. I and many of our senior members of the bar and the state vividly recall the degradation and disadvantage caused by Jim Crow laws and de jure as well as de facto segregation, much of which no longer exists because of lawyers like James Weldon Johnson and the lawyers the Bar Associations honor today through this exhibit. Lifting these leaders, these courageous men and women, and their work in meaningful ways is most important. There are, unfortunately, still strong currents of racism, sexism, xenophobia, homophobia, transphobia, ableism, and reactionary thought and behaviors running through our community and our state. By learning and remembering the history and selfless dedication of the struggles against these ignorant evil currents in bold and permanent ways like the Florida Bar's Path to Unity program, we improve through an informed and inspired citizenry the likelihood that we can become a community and a state which embraces and benefits from its diversity and from inclusion. Thank you, Jacksonville Bar Association, and thank you, Florida Bar Association, for your effort and your leadership.
Thank you, Judge Davis. The Jacksonville Bar Association was excited to lead this initial offering of the Path to Unity program. I'd like to thank all of our speakers and participants for their attendance. We had hoped to perform this program in person here in Jacksonville, but due to COVID-19, we had to administer the program virtually. We hope the result of that, though, is that more people will be able to watch this program and learn from it. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for your support of the bar's diversity and inclusion efforts.